beautiful souls. I'm your host, Shakira Moore, and welcome to episode 4 of the Perspective Matters podcast. This week, I want to talk to you about the power of words. Words have the power to build up, and they have the power to tear down. Now, I'm sure you may have heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Now, chances are this saying was probably created long before internet trolls and cyberbullies, because while sticks and stones may break your bones, words can hurt, they can tear down, and they can leave terrible scars. Today, I want to elaborate further on the topic of affirmations and really focus on intentional speech. Now, I did an episode on the Queen Series podcast with my girl Elena Christine, episode 7. And in that episode, we talked about affirmations and the power affirmations can have on your life when you decide to be intentional with the things you say to yourself and the things you say about yourself, and decide that you're going to be very deliberate with the kind of life you want to create for yourself, and you'll start that by using affirmations. So hop on over to the Queen Series podcast and check out that episode 7 with me and Elena Christine, and then while you're at it, just listen to the rest of her episodes. They're really good. Now, I realized pretty early on that words have tremendous power, because I have been on the receiving end of very harsh words that caused pain, and I've also been on the giving end of some very harsh, unkind words that caused pain. So, with those experiences, I quickly realized that the words that we use do have an impact, not only on ourselves, but on others around us. And if we want to create a harmonious life, and if we want to create the kind of life that we're truly happy with, then it starts with the kinds of words that we use. Have you ever been in a situation where, say, a teacher said something to you that you can actually remember, and you can remember verbatim, whether it was something good or it was something bad? So if a teacher said to you, oh, you're not good at math, you'll never be good at math. And to this day, it's something that you struggle with. Or the opposite, where a teacher affirmed a good quality that you have. You're so good at writing, or your penmanship is beautiful, or you speak so well, or something that makes you feel good about yourself. And to this day, whenever you recall that memory, you recall it with fondness because the teacher used kind words. As I'm making this recording, there is a saying that we had to recite, one of those poems or nursery rhymes that we had to recite in elementary school, that goes like this: there are 3 things you cannot take back once you have let them go: the shot arrow, the spoken word, and a missed opportunity. And it's ironic that today's episode is on the power of words, and that saying came to mind. And it just goes to show that words are powerful, and they do have a lasting impact, and it is up to you to decide the kind of impact you want to have. Do you want to be remembered with fondness, or do you want to be remembered with contempt? And I ask that question because the choice is really yours, and it's something that you have to sit and to think about, and it's something that you have to make your peace with, because words are something that we use every day. We're taught to be kind, and we're taught to be nice, and we're taught to be polite, but we're not taught to be intentional with our words. Oftentimes, we're very careless with the things that we say to others and the things that we say about ourselves and to ourselves. Then we go around wondering why our life is the way it is, and why the results are less than stellar, and we can't achieve as much as we achieve when we are self-sabotaging just because of the things that we say. Take, for example, you've just woken up. You may not feel so great. And without even thinking, you say, maybe even out aloud, today's going to be a rough day. Or, oh boy, another day on the job. And in the first few seconds of having woken up, you have shaped and framed what your entire day is going to be like. For the next 24 hours, you have put it out into the universe that you're going to have a rough day because that is what you said about yourself, without even giving yourself a chance to determine whether or not the feelings that you have on just waking up are going to last. And you go through the day and you wonder why you have such a horrible day. You're late for work. You've left something important at home. You got the wrong coffee order. Someone spilled coffee on you. Everything that could go wrong just went wrong. And at the end of the day, you're like, man, today was really a rough day. Of course it's going to be a rough day because that's what you asked for. The words you used framed the kind of day you're going to have, and it was delivered to you. Now, have you ever done the opposite? And whether or not you got up feeling fantastic, you decided that regardless of how I feel, today is going to be a fantastic day. And the day is a fantastic day. Everything that could go well just went perfectly. You couldn't have planned it even better. You think about the day and you marvel that, wow, today really was a fantastic day. Because that's what you asked for and that was what was delivered. So the proverb that I'm going to share with you today that really emphasizes the power of words, the fact that there is life and death in the words that you use. So here goes. Cock mouth kill cock. Cock mouth kill cock. And the translation for this proverb is, the rooster's mouth causes its own death. The rooster's mouth causes its own death. The explanation for this proverb is, we need to be more careful of the things we say, or words can come back to haunt us. And I would like to add some more to that explanation with this. We need to be intentional with the words that leave our mouths, as they are the keys that unlock blessings or damnation in our lives. They can bring life or they can bring death. And I just want to pause here and reflect on this proverb and reflect on this explanation. That we need to be intentional with the words that we speak, because they can unlock blessings or damnation. The blessings I talk about here are more than just physical manifestations of abundance and wealth. So I'm talking about how you feel. I'm talking about your peace of mind. I'm talking about opportunities that become available to you. So when you affirm good qualities about yourself, for example, I am kind, I'm patient, I'm good at giving directions, I'm good at writing, I'm good at public speaking, and you continue to say these things to yourself, and you continue to think these things about yourself and to say them to other people, then as you begin to take on these ideas and you begin to speak positively and think positively about the things that you can do and the qualities that you possess, then you'll find that opportunities to use these skills become available to you. And as you begin to take advantage of these opportunities, then more opportunities will present themselves. And the opposite is true. So if you continue to speak negatively about yourself and you speak negatively to yourself, then you'll soon realize that everything that could go wrong oftentimes will go wrong, and you begin to attract onto yourself problems on top of problems. For example, I can never pay a bill on time. And every month, as sure as the 25th will come, you are never able to pay a bill on time. And you're always scrambling to pay that bill. Now, I bring this to your attention because it may seem like something you cannot change, and that's simply not true. if you begin to reprogram the things that you think and reprogram the words that you use, and you realize that as you begin to make that shift and as you begin to make that deliberate effort, and things will begin to turn around and things will begin to change. And I use myself as the example. For whatever reason, math was not my strongest subject. And it's interesting that for every career path I chose, math was the foundation to that career path. So I spent 8 years in the Army, and my first job in the Army was as an assistant navigator, and that job was all about math. Calculating speed over distance and time, knowing how much fuel we would need for the particular journey that we're going on, all kinds of things that related to math. And I just had to embrace it and just realize that clearly I'm not going to outrun math. I decided I wanted to do something different with my life and moved to Canada and went back to school and studied marketing. And in my second semester, one of the courses I had to pursue was strictly about math and calculating profit and loss and break even. And I remember saying to my professor one day, "Why are we doing so much math?" And his response was, "Marketing is all about math." And I was like, oh, great. So here I am trying to outrun math, and I ran headlong into it again. Right now, I can proudly say that I'm not afraid of math anymore, and I don't get math anxiety because my current career is all about math, and it's all about being able to be comfortable with math and using the tools and resources available to me to be able to function efficiently and do my best work. I had to have this turnaround because of the things I was saying to myself, particularly as it related to math. I had to stop saying to myself and about myself that I'm bad at math, because as I continued to affirm that negative self-belief, I was in fact horrible at math. And I realized if I changed the way I felt about math, if I changed the way I thought about it and the things I said about it of myself and to myself, and begin to make a concerted effort to work at being better at it, then I could and would see improvements. I'm here as living testimony that is what happened. So as you go through your life and as you come across challenges and you realize that there are weaknesses that you have, it is good to acknowledge them. It is good to be aware of them, but make the effort to work on them, and don't resign yourself to the idea that there is this flaw I have and it is what it is. This is how I am and this is how it's gonna be. If you care about it, and make the effort to work at it and be intentional with the things that you say. So if you're not great at math, then that does not have to be your story, especially if you want to be better at math. If you're not great at writing, if you're not great at building relationships and you care about working on your relationships, then change the narrative that you speak, change the narrative that you say to yourself, and then make the effort to do so. And just in case you don't believe that words are powerful, if you are religious, then you will know this verse that comes from the New Testament book of John that says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." So before there was anything else, there was the Word. In the Bible, Genesis 1 says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." So he spoke light into being. And if we are to go off of what religion says, that we are from God and of God, then if he could speak light into being, then imagine the things that we can speak into being. So look at your life and look at the things that you have spoken into being. Have you spoken good things into being, or have you spoken bad things into being? And what are you going to do about it? Just in case you aren't convinced, then maybe the words of Maya Angelou will convince you. She spoke about the power of words, and this is what she said. And I'm going to quote, "Words are things. I'm convinced. You must be careful about the words you use or the words you allow to be used in your house. In the New Testament, we are told that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. That's in John. Words are things. You must be careful. Care about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs and your upholstery and your clothes. And finally into you. End of quote. Now, underlined in this train of thought is the energy words carry and their ability to affect your vibrations. Now, if you don't believe that everything has energy and everything vibrates at a frequency, then I encourage you to go and listen to Bob Proctor. Words carry energy with them. And the kind of energy words carry depends on the kinds of words you use. So if you use negative words and you're carrying and encouraging lower vibrations that do not encourage good feelings. And conversely, if you use positive words, those positive words carry higher, stronger vibrations that will encourage you to feel good. Just think about the times when you do not feel good. Think about the things that you're thinking in that moment when you don't feel good and the kinds of words you find yourself using. And you'll see that words do have an impact. And there's something about my Jamaican people where we have a term for it, and I didn't realize until very recently that it's something that we've practiced and we've believed in all along, even if it's not explicitly the same words that we use. There's something that we call vibes. Most of us work off of vibes. And if there's a new person that comes into the group, if we like their vibes, then they're welcomed into the group. And if we don't like their vibes, then they don't hang around for too long. Or you have to feel the vibes to go to an event. Or if you don't feel the vibes, then you're not going anywhere. Vibes for us is exactly vibrations. So if a person comes around with bad energy, low energy, bad vibes, then you're not going to want to be around that person. And if you are that person, then nobody's going to want to be around you. And the opposite is also true. So if you come with good vibes, good positive vibrations, then you're always going to attract people to you, and you have to be careful about the people that you attract to you as well. All of that comes from the kinds of words that you use. Do you use words to build people up, or do you use words to tear people down? Do you build yourself up, or do you tear yourself down? Other religions speak about the power of words. Buddha also said, and I'm going to quote, "Words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are both true and kind, they can change our world." End of quote. So religion talks about the power of words. Maya Angelou talked about the power of words. Now, Oprah herself had something to say about words and the energy that they possess, and quote, "You are responsible for the energy that you create for yourself, and you're responsible for the energy that you bring to others. You see, everything around us vibrates. Everything possesses energy and vibrates at varying frequencies. When you utter good words, positive words, you raise your vibrations, and conversely, when you speak negatively, you lower your vibrations." End of quote. Now, if Oprah said it, it must be true, right? So the energy that you're feeling is transferred through the words that you use. So you have to be intentional with the things that you say. You have to be intentional with the times that you speak. Like, you can't just speak because you love the sound of your own voice. If that's the case, then sing. Then sing a song, right? Because words have tremendous power. Now think about it. Have you ever stopped to ask someone, "How are you?" Because you're genuinely a nice person. You genuinely care about that person. You want to hear how they feel. And the response you get, if the earth could open and swallow you up, you'd be grateful. Because all that person does is just stop and rattle off a list of problems, and they provide you with a laundry list of complaints. And at the end of them complaining about everything that is going wrong, you walk away from that conversation not just with deep regret for having even asked, but you feel tired and drained and just feel so bogged down because that person has dumped all of that on you. And chances are that's why people only say, how are you? And they don't stop to get the answer because they don't want to be dumped on, which is a whole nother episode. And I use that example because you can affect people. You can affect people. And the saying that goes, people may forget the words that you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that's because of the power and the impact that words have. So my encouragement to you is, as you go through the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the month, and the year, as time continues to go on, make a promise to yourself, make a vow that you're going to be intentional with your words. You're going to be an active creator of your reality. Things are no longer just going to happen to you. You're going to make things happen. So at the end of this podcast, I'm imploring you and encouraging you to make that commitment to yourself that you want to have a positive impact, not just on your life and on the lives of others, but on the world. And it starts with you. It starts with just one person. It starts with you. So promise to yourself that you're going to be kinder to yourself. You're going to have more compassion. You're going to be gentler with yourself by the things that you think and the things that you speak to yourself and of yourself. You have to have a good relationship with you before you can have a good relationship with anybody else. So many of us, myself included, look to the external for validation or the external for love and approval, when in truth we need to be looking internal. Like everything that we need lies within us. All the love that we want lies within us, and we have to look internally. The internal environment reflects the external environment, and if there is chaos going on inside, then do not be surprised if there's chaos going on outside. Inside has to be fixed first before we can fix the external. So it may require spending more time with yourself, spending more time in silence, embracing those thoughts. Don't run from them because you can't outrun them. So sit and allow your thoughts to flow and pay attention to the kind of thoughts that you're having, and don't be judgmental about it because it doesn't help. But just observe the kinds of thoughts you have and see if there is a pattern. Are you an habitual negative thinker, or are you a habitual positive thinker? And if you are negative, then make the promise to change. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, because chances are it took years of practice to happen. So it started with the kinds of things you probably heard your parents saying, and then it moved from what was happening in the household to at school. So if you heard things like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, or times are hard, and chances are those kinds of things impact how you feel and what kind of relationship do you have with money. Or if you hear people say, oh, good men are hard to find, did you take that on, and is that why you can't have a good relationship? So those are the kinds of things you need to sit and think about, and those are the kinds of thoughts you need to have and pay attention to, and focus on the kinds of words that you use. And it's going to require effort, especially as it relates to the kinds of conversations that you're going to have with others. And people are going to want to draw you into careless conversations and say things like, oh, today's such a horrible day, it's raining outside, and you love the rain. Don't be caught into that conversation. Be careful of the kinds of words that you use, because there are some people who are not as intentional with their words. They're in fact very careless. And you have to be sensible and guarded about the kinds of conversations you allow yourself to be drawn into, because you're only going to affirm that kind of thinking. And that's not something that you want to do, because you have made the commitment to be an intentional speaker. So my beautiful souls, it is my sincere hope that I encouraged you, I inspired you to think differently and to make that commitment to yourself that you're going to be an intentional speaker, that you have now realized the power of words and the impact they can have on your life and the lives of others. You are going to be an active creator and co-creator of your reality. And you're going to use words to build up. You're going to use words to edify, to empower, to encourage. Thank you so much for listening. It was my pleasure talking to you today about words and the power of words. It's a topic I'm very passionate about, and I could spend hours talking about why we need to be careful with our speech and why our thoughts shape the kinds of words that we use. So let me hear from you. I want to hear your opinions and thoughts on whether or not you think words are powerful and impactful. And for next week, we're going to be talking about the green-eyed monster, also known as envy. And can envy be a good thing, or is it purely a bad thing? Thanks again for listening, and until next week, stay blessed. There are two sides to a coin. Just flip it to get the full view. Catch you next week.